The Grand Meadow Games Grudge Match. The annual Grand Meadow Games were the biggest event in Sunny Valley. There were races on lily pads, acorn shot put, and pollen pie eating contests. Herc the dung beetle was in his element. He had won the weightlifting category, which involved rolling the largest dung ball, for 3 years running. This year, my beauty will be unstoppable, Herc declared, patting a giant, freshly rolled ball. Nearby, Squiggly the bookworm was not in his element. He was buried in a book titled The Aerodynamics of Dandelion Fluff. The games are so physical, he muttered. And loud. High in his web, Silas the spider was weaving a banner that read, in elegant silk script, "Go away." He found the whole event disruptive and utterly beneath him. The problem started when the sneaky and arrogant stink bug brothers, Stig and Stank, sauntered over to Herc. "Think you're tough, dung breath?" sneered Stig. "This year, we're introducing a new, ultimate team event, the Triathlon of Grit. It requires brains, brawn, and skill. Something you don't have." Stank pointed a smelly leg at the rules, which were written on a large leaf. "See? A 3-part race. No one can compete alone. You need a team of 3. Herc's heart sank. He was strong, but everyone knew he wasn't the sharpest thorn on the rosebush. He had no team. He looked around hopefully, but all the other insects avoided his gaze. No one wanted to team up with the simple dung beetle and risk losing to the stink bugs. Squiggly, peeking from behind his book, felt a pang of sympathy. He knew Herc was kind, and he hated bullies. Taking a deep breath, he wriggled forward. "Ahem, Mr. Herc, I could offer my strategic assistance. I know a great deal about physics and biomechanics." Herc's face lit up. "Squiggly, you'd do that for me? You're the smartest worm I know." Just then, a stray pollen ball, thrown by an overexcited bee, soared through the air and splattered right across Silas's pristine, "Go away" banner. The web was ruined, dripping with sticky yellow gunk. Silas froze, his many eyes twitching with rage. This was the final insult. The chaos of the games had directly assaulted his art. He rappelled down, his face a mask of fury, and landed between Herc and Squiggly. This insolence must be answered with absolute, undeniable victory, Silas seethed, pointing a leg at the smirking stink bug brothers. "You two oafs need a third member. I, out of necessity rather than desire, will fill this role. We will enter this triathlon, and we will humiliate them." And so, Team Unlikely was born. The Triathlon of Grit had 3 parts. The Muddy Trench Crawl. A race through a deep, sticky mud trench. The Web Walker's Labyrinth. A path through a forest of sticky, confusing silk strands. The Final Ascent. A climb up the slippery slope to ring the golden acorn bell. The Stink Bug Brothers, with their 3rd member, a fast and nasty centipede, sneered at Team Unlikely. Ready to lose, losers? Part 1. The Muddy Trench Crawl. Herc started for his team. The mud was deep and clinging. The centipede shot ahead, its many legs churning. But Herc didn't panic. He simply put his head down and started rolling. He compacted the mud in front of him into a solid, rolling path. He wasn't the fastest, but he was an unstoppable force, creating a clean track for his teammates. He finished a solid 2nd, covered in mud but smiling. Part 2. The Web Walker's Labyrinth. This was Silas's domain. The stink bugs and the centipede immediately got tangled, stuck fast in the confusing silk. Silas simply strolled through. He knew every type of sticky and non-sticky silk. He gently guided a blindfolded Squiggly, who was too scared to look, through the safe paths, while Herc simply bulldozed through the strands that Silas said were weak. They finished this round in 1st place. Part 3. The Final Ascent. The slippery slope was a wall of slick, wet stone. The centipede tried to use its speed but kept sliding down. That's when Team Unlikely's teamwork shone. "Squiggly, the plan," Herc said. Squiggly, who had studied the rock's surface, directed operations. "Herc, position yourself at a 45-degree angle at the base. Silas, your silk, please. Aim for that fissure I mentioned." Silas, with incredible precision, shot a strand of his strongest silk up the wall. It wasn't long enough to reach the top, but it anchored perfectly into a small crack that Squiggly had identified. Now, Herc, yelled Squiggly. Herc, standing strong at the bottom, became the living anchor. Silas quickly wove the silk into a sturdy rope ladder. Squiggly, being the lightest, scurried up the ladder first. Then Silas climbed up. Together, they pulled with all their might while Herc, grunting with effort, pushed from below, his strong legs providing the base power. With one final heave, they all tumbled over the top. Squiggly, filled with a courage he never knew he had, scrambled to the golden acorn and rang it with all his might. Ding! 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 The meadow erupted in cheers. Team Unlikely had won. The Stink Bug brothers were still stuck in the web labyrinth, arguing loudly. Queen Beatrice awarded them with wreaths of clover. Herc got one for strength, Silas for skill, and Squiggly for strategy. Told you we could do it, Herc said, hugging his teammates so tightly that Squiggly gasped and Silas threatened to weave his mouth shut. But as they stood there, covered in mud and silk, listening to the cheers, even Silas allowed himself a small, secret smile. They weren't just a team, they were friends. And that felt like the greatest victory of all.